Hey guys, my name's Annalise and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you how to make homemade pot roast. This is a delicious, juicy, tender recipe that you can make in the crock pot or on the stove in a Dutch oven, and I'm very excited to show you how I do it so you can do it at your house. Let me share with you what you're going to need. For this recipe, you need about a 2-pound pot roast. I'm using chuck. I have a yellow onion, a sprig of rosemary, some carrots, some garlic, potatoes, salt, of course, some red wine. I love this brand. You can get it at Kroger. I've seen it at Sam's before, probably any of your local grocery stores, but that one is just my favorite. I have some beef broth, some olive oil, and then just 1 bay leaf, and this is just gonna be popped into the pot just to kind of simmer, and then before everything is served, you'll just take that out and discard it. For the first step, I'm gonna go ahead and get all the vegetables cut up. I've already cut up the onions, so I'm doing half of it, and you're just gonna dice it, really simple, easy. I'm gonna mince the garlic, peel the potatoes, and then cut them into about quarters, and then make these carrots into bite-sized carrots. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut off the end of this onion. And if you saw my recent IGTV, you'll know that I actually love saving the peeling and the skin of onions because you can use this in chicken broth. And so if you're doing this, make sure you save this. Same with the carrot ends so that you can use them for your homemade chicken broth. All right, so just finishing up these onions. Perfect, and you can really just roughly chop those. Move that to the side, and then make sure you wash your carrots, and we're just gonna cut off that end, and remember you can save that. And I'm just gonna cut it into about that size, just so that they'll be bite-sized and perfect to eat, and you won't have to cut them when you're eating them. And I'm just gonna do this to all of them. I'm finishing up these potatoes, and I really just wanted to put it out there that when you're peeling a potato, you can do it however way you want. But I learned a trick a few years ago. It is easier to peel if you put the peeler, if that's what you want to call it, at the front and put your thumb back here and peel towards you. You're gonna get a lot cleaner of a peel. Now, it's okay for this recipe if you have like little dents like this, because this isn't mashed potatoes, they don't need to be perfect. So you just go ahead and peel how you like, but it is so easy for me to peel towards me rather than do like a bunch of little strokes and waste a lot of the potato. But I was thinking, as I was telling you these tips, that I had a friend the other day tell me that if your eyes water a lot when you're chopping an onion, to put the onion in the freezer for about 30 minutes before you cut it, and it's going to help not let your eyes water. Now, I don't have that problem, so I don't have to do that, but if you do have that problem, I know a lot of you would appreciate that little tip. And then to cut them, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut them in half, and I'm just gonna pop it over. I'm gonna cut those in half, and then probably do about fourths like this. Sometimes when they're really big like this, I'll cut it again, just an awkward angle so it's not like perfect. Just push that to the side, and I'm gonna continue doing this. After we're done cutting the potatoes, I'm gonna move on and mince the garlic just really finely so that it's not big pieces of garlic. And then we're gonna turn around behind us and get the pot started. Now just gonna go ahead and take off the peeling of this garlic. And you can also grate the garlic in if you don't like thick pieces of garlic, but I love garlic, and these are actually pretty big cloves of garlic. So in my recipe, it says use about 3, but I'm only using 2 today because these are gigantic. So I'm just gonna go ahead, mince these up, and we'll get started. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drizzle in a little bit of olive oil into this Dutch oven, and I actually have an Amazon shopping page. So if you're looking for any of the utensils that I use, it is linked on that page. So I'll leave a link down below so that you can go shop if you are looking for something like this to use. Like, this is by far one of my favorite items to cook with. It stays on my oven because it is just, 1, it's gorgeous, and 2, it is such a good cooking essential. Anyway, back to the cooking. So I added in some olive oil, and now I'm just gonna move over to the onions. And I have the heat on, so it's already heating up. And we're just gonna add in these onions first and let them get translucent. And then that'll probably take about a minute. once those are translucent, I'll add in the garlic. The onions are doing great and they're finally turning translucent. I turned the heat down to about medium-low because it's now time to add in the garlic. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in there. And you wanna turn down the heat because you really don't want the garlic to burn. You really just want it to become fragrant. So I'm gonna toss that around. There we go. And while that is finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my oven to 250 degrees. Now, while the onions and the garlic are still simmering behind me, I'm gonna go ahead and season this chuck roast. So all I'm gonna do is just lather it on with some really good salt. Do both sides. You really just wanna season it well so that it tastes amazing by the time it's done. And I'm actually going to remove the onions and the garlic into the bowl that the garlic was in because I want my pot to have the flavor of the garlic and the onion when the roast goes in. But feel free to go ahead and do the roast beforehand if it's easier and faster. But I just like to do it this way so that when the roast goes in, it has all those flavors on the bottom. So let's go ahead and put this into the Dutch oven. I'm gonna turn up the heat just a little bit. I'm gonna add in a little bit more olive oil. And you don't have to get all of the onions and garlic out, just enough. And let it sear on both sides. And then we're going to add all the rest of the ingredients. All right, so the roast is looking perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and move it to the side. Awesome. And remember, it does not have to be fully cooked through. You really just wanna let it sear on both sides. So now we're gonna go ahead and deglaze the pot. So make sure the temperature is still medium-high. And we're just gonna go ahead and pour this in. And it is going to reduce by half. So the wine has reduced in half and it's now time to go ahead and pour in all of the beef broth. Finish all of that. Place it in all of the delicious juices. Pour in all of the onions and the garlic that were cooked. And I kind of just want to push them off to the sides so that they're in there. So I'm gonna add in all of the carrots. And I'm gonna wait on the potatoes until about an hour, about 2 hours until it's time to eat the roast. Just because I really don't want those to start getting mushy and gross. So we're gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put a bay leaf, and this is optional, you really don't have to. Just put 1 or 2. And then the rosemary. So we're gonna let this cook for about 2 hours, and then once it's time to cook the potatoes, it'll cook for about 2 more hours. So I'm gonna pop this into the oven. So the roast was in the oven for about 4 hours, and then the last hour I went ahead and threw in the potatoes so that they wouldn't get extremely mushy. And I took out the bay leaf and the sprig of rosemary, and now it's time to taste it. It smells delicious, and guys, this is so tender because of how long it cooked and all the juices. So I'm gonna go ahead. All right. That's hot. That is so good. I hope that y'all enjoyed this recipe and that you will share it with your friends and family, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.